Welcome to Testosterothon, 28 movies so manly they'll turn birth control pills into beef jerky. Die Hard 2, sometimes referred to as Die Harder because people are stupid, is pretty much a rehash, though it's escalated by several orders of magnitude, but loses a lot of charm in the process. Like the first film, it's based on a book, 58 Minutes by Walter Wagner, which has no correlation to either Die Hard or to Nothing Lasts Forever. In the book, a cop has to deal with terrorists that have taken over an airport while a plane circles the runways overhead. He has 58 minutes before the plane runs out of fuel and crashes, and to make matters worse, his daughter is on the plane. Now, make the terrorists ex-military radicals, make the cop, John McClane, have it happen on Christmas Eve, again, and instead of a daughter, it's his wife. Oh, and it's not just one plane, but loads of planes, all running low on fuel. McClane is at the airport to greet his wife as she comes off a plane, but the plane never lands as the bad guys impersonate tower control and screw with their instruments, tell them to keep circling and turn off the runway lights so they can't see where the ground is. McClane has suspicions since it first started, but the airport police won't listen to him. In the first film, he was the lone wolf stuck in with the terrorists in an enclosed space, but in this one, he's on the ground in the airport with loads of other cops, and eventually the military, but is somehow the only person who is not a total dumbass. Everybody is a huge caricature of a bureaucratic cop or a dumbass, useless hump, and McClane is like a super cop who always has the right intuition on what's going to happen, is an expert with all matters of weaponry, and can kick anybody's ass. You see where I'm going with this? It's not a bad film. The performances are still good, and the premise kicks all sorts of ass, but it feels like on one hand they're doing a complete rehash, right down to the Christmas setting, and on the other hand they forgot everything that made Die Hard so good in the first place. They just wanted to make an action movie. There's some twists in the plot, but nothing that isn't totally obvious. It seems almost all of these movies are about the bad guys having a different motive than you thought at first. The best parts of the movie are when McClane is pretty much locked out of the investigation and has to rely on a janitor who has lots of maps of the airport's underground to get the job done, and the sheer display of balls that he shows. However, eventually it devolves into McClane rallying the airport police for an assault on the terrorists and still managing to do almost everything solo. Instead of everything working against him, but still him managing to pull through, which is pretty much the very definition of the term die hard, in this film, especially towards the end, the military and police are working with him. He's just shown to be more awesome than they are. I don't really dislike the film, I just think it has a lot of flaws and it fits oddly with the first one. But I don't really like it enough for repeated watches. On the machismo meter, I'm going to give this one an 8. McClane comes off less as a badass and more as an invincible Superman, and I never want to see William Sadler doing naked exercising ever again. For the actual score, like I said, I don't hate it, but I don't really think it's great. It has a great pedigree, which makes it disappointing that it's not better, but just looking at it objectively on its own, I'd say it's slightly above average. So, I give it a 6.